welcome to Hanging with Frugal Tina. And yes, you guessed it, I'm Tina. So what are we doing today? Before we do that, pause. I want to say that I am aware that there is an echo when I'm talking. I am on a fixed income, so I'm trying to get a good mic that will get rid of some of the echo in the household. But again, I have to wait until it fits into the budget. But eventually, I will get one. Just know that I do know, and I am working on it, or working towards fixing it. Okay, back to the show, right? So what are we doing today? We're going to make a casserole. Weather's changing, I keep saying that, so I start feeling like the comfort foods. So what we're gonna make today is gonna be a wild rice, it's called a harvest chicken casserole. It's got rice and sweet potatoes and a whole bunch of other things. Some of the things that I'm going to show you, you don't have to use. I happen to have it in my house, but if I didn't have it, I would be using something else, and I will be telling you what they are when I get over there, right over there, right at the counter. I'm looking at it, right? When I get over there, I'll tell you what they are. I just happen to have these ingredients. Some of these ingredients you may have too, or you may not. Like one of the ingredients is dried cranberries. Not everybody has that, but you got raisins, you could use that. You don't have to use everything that's in here. I am also halving the recipe. I will put the full recipe down because I'm only serving 4 people. I'm so used to cooking for my tribe, and now we're down to just the 4 of us. Well, actually, it's the 5 of us, but Trey's working. He's not going to be eating, so sometimes he eats, sometimes he doesn't. So the majority of us that are here are only 4 now, not the 6 to 9 to 10 to 11. We've whittled down the number of occupants in the house and that I have to cook for. Just means I have to change my cooking style a little bit, a lot of it, because I'm used to it. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop babbling. You might as well call me Brooke, right? Because I'm just babble Brooke. All right, so let's get it, let's go. Let's heat up those pots, come on. All right, here are the main ingredients that you're going to need. Typically, I don't put out 2 pieces of chicken and say, hey, I only paid this much for it when I paid a lot more in a big pack. However, I'm going to lean into that a little bit more because I was leaning away from it. Now I want to lean in because it'll save me some money that I don't have to go out and buy little packs. It will add up over time. So this chicken is left from a video I did. I took out 2 pieces and used it for the video. Then I did another recipe. I took out 2 pieces and used it for that. And this is the remaining 2 pieces of that pack. So I'm gonna put up the price. I can't remember what I paid for that chicken. I have to go back and look. So I will put up whatever the value of this chicken is. Also, before we go on with the rice, it calls for a wild rice. I don't have any, but I'm gonna use what I have on hand. The recipe that I am using calls for quite a bit of rice. I will leave the actual recipe at the bottom, but I'm halving it. But so the rice you would need, they want 6 cups of rice. So that's a lot of rice, considering there's only the 5 of us now, and 4 of us are eating because Trey's going to work, so he's gonna grab something there. All right, so let's get to it. So you're gonna need the chicken, you're gonna need some rice, some Brussels sprouts, some sweet potatoes. I don't know if I'm going to use both of those. The recipe calls for 2, but it might be too much for just the 4 of us. I'll see what it looks like when we chop it up. It calls for half an onion, but if you see how small my onion is as it relates to that piece of garlic right there, it's very small, so I'm going to use the whole thing. Dried cranberries. You don't need to use dried cranberries if you don't have them in your house. Use some raisins or something like that. Whatever you have. And then some almond slivers. I probably would have omitted it altogether, but I've had those in my pantry since Christmas. I bought them prior to Christmas to make some cookies and some things I was making. And I ended up not using it all, and it's been sitting there all of this time. So I happen to have it. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't have ran out just to grab some almond slivers. Let's get on to the spices. Here's everything you're going to need, I think. I may have forgotten something. I'm doing it from memory. Olive oil, kosher salt, pepper, cumin, chicken broth, and some paprika. First thing I'm going to do is get the rice started. I'm doing nothing more than what the directions say on the back. So whatever rice you decide to use, do what it says. 4 cups of water, 2 packs of the rice. I thought I had a different rice out than I do. There was one that had more flavors in it, but since I already opened it, pack number 2. It was like a Spanish kind of a rice with a lot of like vegetables, and 2 tablespoons of butter-ish. And just gonna bring that to a boil and let it simmer. I knew I was forgetting something. When I tell you it needs salt, if I'm using it on the chicken, which I will be, I like Lowry's. I also forgot to put out thyme, which is in the recipe, and onion powder and garlic powder, which is not part of the recipe. So you can use it or not use it, or any of these things. Use what you want, not what you don't. Rather than starting with the chicken, I'm going to start with the potatoes. I'm going to peel it up and then chop it up, and I'm going to have it sit in some cold water while the chicken's cooking. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm just going to peel this, and when it's all peeled, I'll be right back. All right, so I cut it in half already. They're hard to cut because my knives are sharp. So I'm just going to cube them up, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this off camera because I'm afraid if I'm talking, I'm going to end up cutting myself. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I'm only going to use that 1 potato because there's 4 of us. I think that that's got to be in with the rice. I feel like that should be enough for us. If I feel like I need more, maybe I'll put a small potato in there, but I don't want to cut up another equal to this amount. I think that should be good. Okay, you have a decision here. You can cook this whole and then let it rest for 10 minutes or so and then cut it into pieces. Or you can cut it into pieces ahead of time. I'm going to do ahead of time. So I'm going to cut away some of the ick because nobody wants that in their food. Wish I should have had a bigger knife to start with, but told you my knives are sharp. Okay, so I'm just gonna cube this up into what I want my bite-sized pieces to be. Just like that. Nice big hunks I want. I want the hunks of chicken to stick out, I think. I might cut it down smaller as I go, but kind of like that. And that's that. Just keep cutting till we're done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy so far, right? This is a very, 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 very simple recipe. Okay, all done. Let's move over to the frying pan. I forgot, I chopped up the onion when I was doing the potatoes. Okay, rather than moving this to a bowl and season it there, I'm going to season it right here before I put it in the frying pan. I got clean gloves on again. I'm just going to add some seasoned salt, or you could use table salt. Some pepper. Now, the recipe only calls for salt and pepper. I'm not just a salt and pepper kind of girl, right? It's just the garlic powder. I smell it, I couldn't tell. Garlic powder to taste, and onion powder to taste. And then I'm just gonna mix it up. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, wait, I forgot paprika. I forgot the paprika. Okay. I'll finish mixing this up and move on over. That's gotta get trimmed. Okay, so I got the pan on. Let me turn it down a little bit. Got some olive oil. About a tablespoon or so, just enough to... Hold on a second. Excuse me. I had a big sneeze coming, that they say. It ain't seasoned unless you're sneezing, right? But that pepper got in my nose. So I still have one clean glove left. Well, on my hand, the other one's not gloved. And just gonna heat that up a little bit. And we're gonna put the chicken in here. And we're going to brown it up. Just cook it through. A beginner can make this recipe. I really wish I had wild rice. It would be so much better, but I don't. I thought I did. Okay, so that's I'm going to leave that in there, let it get some color. Just cook it through until it's done all the way. Okay, so I'm giving these a little bit of a flip. So we can get some color on both sides, and I'm just gonna leave it alone, let it sit so it can do its thing. Okay, so those are cooked well enough through. I'm going to leave the oil in the pan, whatever grease or chicken fat or whatever that is in the pan, because we're going to use this to cook the onions and the potatoes and all of that. Let me just turn it off for a minute while I move this out of the pan and into a bowl and set it to the side. Okay, so to this oil, we're going to add the onion. Get that out the best I can. The potatoes. I'm going to add the garlic, but when I have time to like really babysit it. So right now I'm just going to do the seasonings. I put my seasonings in first before I hit that garlic. It calls for 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme. So that's 1 teaspoon when you're using dried. Teaspoon of paprika. Just dropped it, dang it. Half a teaspoon of cumin. I always go lighter, so I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon. I'm not a fan of cumin. And then the garlic. Let me give that a mix first. And then 2 cloves of garlic. Now be careful because you don't want your garlic to burn, so watch your heat. So we're going to cook this until the potatoes soften. It's going to take maybe 5 minutes or so, maybe 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how big you cut your potatoes. I cut mine on the larger side. I might cut them down in half while I'm waiting. I forgot to add salt and pepper. It says kosher salt. Potatoes need a good amount of salt and some pepper. Get that in a mix. Okay, let's just keep this going. I've also forgot the Brussels sprouts. I opened up the bag and I quartered them. Boom. Those are going in as well. Get it right, Tina. Forgetting everything today. Let's give that a little bit of time to cook. Alrighty, we're coming down the home stretch. This is a 4th cup of chicken broth. Just kind of like want to deglaze everything, give it a couple of minutes, let it cook. Everything nice and moist. It smells yummy, guys. I can't even tell you what it smells like. It just smells like yummy, yummy. I'm going to taste one of these potatoes to make sure they look seasoned well, but are they seasoned well? Because if you don't have enough salt on Brussels sprouts and potatoes, especially those Brussels sprouts, they don't taste good. To me, I do not like Brussels sprouts without salt. So I got a big old mixing fork here. Let's see what's going on with these potatoes and sprouts. That is yummy. Just gonna give that another minute or two. Just wanted to loosen it up. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move over to the counter because we're gonna put all of this and the rice and everything in a casserole dish. And the chicken. Okay, again, I'm at one of these weird angles. It's a little hard. I didn't realize how much work it is reaching around cameras and ring lights and things like that. So, to the casserole dish, you're gonna add your rice. Now, it's been sitting a minute, so it might, yeah, come out in a plop, I was gonna say. To this, we're gonna add our chicken and our vegetables. Hold on. Try to break it up a little bit. It goes to chicken. Thinking I might not need all of it. Keep some out for something else. So I don't want to overpower it with all the chicken and vegetables. Okay, so I got more vegetables to come in. I got the cranberries too, they gotta go in. We want all the vegetables. We are a vegetable eating family. You don't see a lot of variety on the channel, but we do eat it. We just have our certain favorites. Okay. Still have a little bit over here, but I don't want to overload the pan. Then we're gonna put some cranberries. The recipe calls for a half a cup, but that's a full thing. So I'm just gonna throw a handful in there. Maybe a little bit more than that. Now I gotta give that a big old mix. At this angle, I cannot do it. So you're gonna have to just trust me that I'm mixing it. All right, so I'm adding a splash more of the cranberries in there. Then we're gonna top it with the almonds, if you have it. We'll just make sure it's just almonds in this bag and nothing else. Yeah, just almonds. Slivered almonds, that's what I have. At least that's what it says, slivered almonds. All right, so we're gonna put the, oh wait, no, we're not done. It needs a little bit more moisture into it. There's another, called for a half a cup of chicken broth. I used a quarter of it already. Oops. And now I have the other quarter. Sorry, I thought it wasn't recording. I have the other quarter right here that we're gonna drizzle over top. Probably could even use more than a quarter cup, but I think I might put just a little bit more in there than that quarter. Hold on. Okay, I just whipped up just a little bit. I didn't even measure. It's a full cup. It's probably like 1/8 of a cup. Only because it's going in there for up to 15 minutes, and I feel like it needs more liquid in there than that. Maybe I'm making a mistake? maybe I'm not. Okay, so in the oven that goes, and that's it, guys.
Oh my goodness.
It's heavy. Holy cow, that is half of the recipe. That's a lot of food. The recipe said it was gonna feed 8. This is only supposed to feed 4. That's a lot of food. Look at me, my mitten. All right, well, let me take a couple of pictures, and then I'm gonna meet you at the table. And there's my plate. Now, I said, she's not very pretty, is she? And Eric said, pretty doesn't equal good. So it's still gonna be good. And you know what? I taught him well. He's right. Let's get to eat.
We're at the table.
I say it every night, can't wait. But I sampled the vegetables early on. So I did not, now it does, wait, hold on. When you put it in the pan, it calls for salt and pepper. I didn't add any because I heavily salted the potatoes and that. So if it needs salt and pepper, we're gonna add it now. Just so you know, it isn't a recipe to add it prior. Okay, I got a little bit of everything on here. I got some chicken, I got some potato, I got some Brussels sprouts, and some rice.
I'm getting everything too. There we go.
Probably should have got a spoon myself. All right, ready? Go for it.
That's good.
That is delicious. My kids were freaking out about the Brussels sprouts. Funny story. About 5-6 years ago, I fed them Brussels sprouts and I didn't eat. And they're like, it's no good. I'm like, it's fine, just eat it. Well, I tasted it and they were rotten. And the kids will not touch Brussels sprouts since then. So the fact that I cooked some, the kids were like, I don't know. I said, trust me, just trust me. So what do you think about the Brussels sprouts?
It's really good.
Okay, good. All right, so let me get Aiden and Tyler fed and we'll see what they think about dinner. Bye-bye. Dinner's over. How'd we do? Bam! Half of the pan. Let me see what they thought about it. Tyler, what did you think about dinner?
I loved it very much.
Eric, what did you think about dinner?
It was amazing, and I would eat it again.
Aiden, what do you think about dinner?
I absolutely loved it.
Oh, I like that. Absolutely loved it. I enjoyed it. I keep saying, and this is probably TMI, I feel like I'm gonna puke because I kept pushing it in, and I'm a small eater, but oh boy, I would eat that again any day of the week. I would make one little caveat to it. I think it would have been better if I did have the wild rice in there, but it was yummy as heck. But I think it would have been better if I used the wild rice. So there you have it. I hope you try it. I hope you like it. Remember that I halved this recipe, and this was a 9x13. And leave me a comment either way. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye.